Thanks everyone for turning out for an early session. We're going to be talking about partnership, and this is I was a bit surprised to learn I'd be moderating a session on partnership. I've never have before, but I will say it's a huge part of this industry, and I can't think of another industry that's more dependent on strong partnership. Maybe there is one. I'd be curious to know if anyone else can think of an industry that has more partnership just as a kind of a natural element of doing business. At AdExchanger, where I worked for 9 years, we had a huge conference, Programmatic I/O. I'm not there anymore, but that show is still going strong. And at a certain point, as that show was growing and growing, I realized, it dawned on me that many of the people in the room were not necessarily looking for customers or only customers. They were looking for partners as well. And it was it ended up being a key event for partnership. So interesting, and looking forward to spending the next little bit talking about how that's changing and how it's changing for TV. So Matt, welcome.
Thank you.
Matt McLeggon, introduce yourself. What do you do at Magnite?
So I run the advanced solutions team. We're responsible for bringing new solutions to market. We work extremely close with the SpringServe team, building game-changing ways to integrate programmatic with direct sold, our nascent linear addressable business, basically new and super advanced stuff.
And did you came into Magnite through SpringServe? Is that right?
Through SpotX.
Oh, through SpotX.
Through SpotX,
okay.
yeah.
Okay. Well, Magnite's an interesting example of a company that's builds, buys, and partners. Mm-hmm. So we could talk a little bit about, because Magnite has acquired multiple companies. So SpotX was a huge deal. And so what were you doing before at SpotX? Similar role? Or?
Similar role.
Okay,
yep.
Got it.
Yep. So I got to stick around.
The role of partnership in our space, before we get to TV, like what's been your personal observation of how it's changed over time?
I mean, on the CTV side, I think one of the main pieces is that everyone's using the word consolidation, but there's just fewer companies now, right? So unlike the display world where partnerships are kind of handled through industry standards and they're really integrations, like in the CTV space, there's only a set number of players, and so you really have to be close with everyone, even folks that people would say are your competitors on a Lumascape, right? So I think that's the key difference in CTV is that there's a few people, and everyone has to work very closely together to get anything done. Especially if you're not one of the walled gardens, you have to sort of cooperate. I think the session is aptly named the partnership imperative. It's imperative, right? It's partner or die.
Okay, right. So there's not 90 DSPs and 30 DMPs and like 100 data sellers and resellers.
Absolutely, and I actually think like the thing that's interesting for folks that aren't like directly in programmatic, I think the perception of programmatic for CTV is like would more accurately describe programmatic in display 5 years ago, right? So it's like this feeling that it's the Wild West, and there's 18 ways to the inventory. And that's not what programmatic is in CTV, right? It's programmatic ad serving. There's a couple of companies. It's 90% deal driven, right? So it's not the open marketplace. It's a buyer to seller, and it's just the automation of programmatic. But I think the perception lags a bit.
Yeah, so programmatic is a thing. It's just a much simpler kind of reductive version of it.
Completely.
Right.
Completely.
It's about automation.
Exactly.
And more data velocity. Faster data, more data. But
couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah, cool. All right, good. So, and also bigger companies on the sell side of the equation. That's another key difference, right? Like fewer, bigger?
Yeah.
Like publishers.
Totally.
Yeah.
Right, like all of our clients have merged, so it's like, you kind of have to win, otherwise
right.
You're not in the equation, right? We went from like 20 really big players to like 10.
Okay, so it makes each one more important to get right.
Exactly.
The stakes are just higher.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Good. So I'd like to spend a minute talking about something the Trade Desk is doing, which is direct integrations with sellers, which looks like trying to reduce the role for SSPs and exchanges reduce the number of partnerships necessary to make this industry function. Is that how you read that move?
Really good question.
Yeah.
So I'll speak briefly about that announcement and then in general about this notion of going direct. So the announcement in general was specific to online video. It was a pivot away from Google open bidding towards pre-bid. So selfishly, it's actually very good for us. Magnite's sort of a leader in pre-bid on the online video side, so I think it helps us. I think the going direct thing is interesting, right? Because there's no question that the idea of direct must be resonant from a marketing standpoint because every marketer wants you to go direct, right? Whether it's razor blades or boxer briefs, so you can go direct. But it doesn't always mean anything. If you're a programmatic buyer in a DSP, there's a lot of things you need from your connection point into the publisher side. There's got to be the ability to do an auction based on price, but also considers priority and can make programmatic guaranteed work. You've got to manage frequency and pacing and have a detailed understanding of the inventory and associated ad policy, right? No beer during Thursday night football, no cannabis before 12 p.m. I could go on forever describing what we do. And those platforms exist. They're called SSPs. So there's SSPs owned by ad servers and SSPs that are independent, and that's kind of always the connection point.
So there's just a bunch of publisher use cases that an integration like this from even a huge player like the Trade Desk can't solve for, is what you're saying?
No, because you don't want to be in your own auction. You want to be in the auction with the media owner's other demand. I think where the innovation can and is happening is between the SSP and the ad server. So I'll plug SpringServe, our partner company, right? But we've built and are building shared forecasting, shared audience awareness, shared content awareness, shared decisioning logic. So there's a lot of cool things that can happen there, but the connection for a DSP is still the SSP.
All right, great. So who are your most important partners at Magnite? Who are the companies you really need to connect with? Obviously publishers, but anyone else you want to talk about?
Oh, man, that's tough. I'm on the spot. Anyone I don't mention is gonna be mad. It's everyone, right? It's buyers, it's sellers, it's data companies. There's a lot of different players that are involved in the ecosystem. I'll plug some new partners. So we have a nascent linear addressable business. So we work really closely with a company called LTN. They work with most of the programmers, kind of back end, advanced TV. And we've done some really cool stuff. We had a big announcement with AMC in October. We have a number of media owners launching in Q2. And for us, that's exciting. I think in its infancy, it's just new inventory. It's kind of like a new distribution channel. But the end state is kind of what we've all talked about for 10 years is convergence, right? A single ad operations, technology, sales across linear and digital. And that's really exciting.
Right. Convergence and integration, interoperability is the goal. But then there are...
We're going to use all the keywords.
Yeah. We're going to hit them all this morning. But there are signs things are going maybe in the other direction, the walled gardenification of television.
There's always going to be both. There's a tension between bringing differentiated products to market and interoperability, right? Everyone wants to build cool things and build a moat or a wall around it. But again, you have to make everything work. And I think the independent ecosystem sort of knows that, right? We make announcements, but at the end of the day or the beginning of the day, we've got to make it all work together. Buyers are buying CTV. They're not buying a single publisher. They're not buying just Disney or just Discovery or whoever.
Right, and I think the rising of walls around audiences is actually a reason that does lead to more efforts around interoperability and the need for third parties, the identity graphs and clean rooms, and other parties to rationalize. So
all those, I mean, like all the topics that have come up this week that are the hot topics, they're all about interoperability. So like you said, clean rooms, it's about maybe not data sharing, but data matching. So interoperability between supply side partners or buyers and sellers. OTC header bidding is a big one that we go to market with SpringServe. That's interoperability between direct sold and programmatic. Convergence, interoperability between linear television and digital television. So all the things that people are talking about, all the things that we know are the top things to solve are really just about making systems and different kinds of systems work together.
Yeah. Whereas it seems like we're going to have more and more data providers, and that's a good thing. We don't want more and more clean room providers and identity providers. We want those companies to consolidate, ideally. You want your identity to be as ubiquitous as possible.
Absolutely.
So, okay, good. All right, well, Matt, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. We're going to bring Krista Carone up.
Cool.